Okay, so the video you're about to see I made about 4 months ago, and it was a month after one of my best friends passed away from suicide. This video was so raw. It was like 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep because that's all I kept thinking about was my friend's suicide. And I was just so like depressed, and I didn't want to sleep because anytime I tried, that's all that would run through my head, and I'd have to like force myself to go to sleep, and it was just such a process. So I figured, you know what, I want to see my progress one day. I want to, because I kind of knew that I was going to get out of the slump. It was still very fresh, but I wanted to document how I was feeling and share my true thoughts, because when you go through something so hard like that, it really like opens up something in yourself. You find out things about your personality that you didn't know existed before. You learn things about yourself. You learn how you handle things. So I turned on the camera and my microphone, and I just started talking. My parents were asleep. Nobody was awake. I was just by myself, sad, crying, depressed. And in that moment, it seemed like nothing, like anything that I would try to do to make myself happy seemed so hopeless. It seemed like nothing was helping. I was just so sad and wondering why was it him. That process, the grieving process, becomes selfish at some point, because you're like, why me? Like, why did this happen to my friend? Why do I have to be sad? Why do I have to go through this? Because at first, I feel like you feel sad for them, but after you pass that stage of, okay, well, they don't have to feel anything anymore, you hit this point of, well, man, they don't have to feel this anymore. Now I do. Well, what do I do? What do I do with all of this emotion? And honestly, now, like 4 months later, I feel so just, now that I've passed it, I realize that some people don't have the resources to move past it. They don't see the light at the end of that tunnel. They just see a brick wall, blackness and a brick wall. And honestly, speaking as somebody who went through this, something that I'd never experienced before, like I've had a family member die, I've had family members die, but when you have a true connection with somebody, when you have a friendship with somebody, and you just out of the blue lose them, like it was so random, so sudden, it was nothing I could have ever planned for, nothing I could have ever mentally prepped for. It's hard. And anybody, like, you'll hear that all the time, like, oh yeah, it's hard, you know, and you don't want to tell them all the details of what you've been thinking and what you've been doing. But with this video, I actually really got deep, and now watching it later on, I started crying. Because when you're going through it and you're thinking these things, it's just the thoughts that come in your head. You don't try to think of them, they just happen. And now that I'm past it, I realize that there are some people who think the exact same way, and it's hard and scary. It's scary thoughts, like, but through my friend's passing, I have made so many more friends. Now, nobody could ever replace him, but I have made so many friends. I have just formed relationships with people that I didn't talk to before. And if you can find something positive through such a dark time like that, it really, really helps. Like, reach out to people, talk to people, whether that's small group leaders, whether that's a friend, whether that's just anybody around you that's willing to say, hey, what's wrong, and actually listen. Talk to them. Don't hold it inside, because what you're doing is just making it so much worse. You have to speak what's on your heart, or else you'll never get rid of it. And I can promise you, more people think similarly than you realize. Like, some people will think, oh, I don't want to say it because I'm being over dramatic. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to cry in front of people. I don't want to, etc., etc., etc. I don't want to do this, that, anything, because they're going to think of me like this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Sometimes realizing that you shouldn't be feeling that way is a cue that you need to reevaluate things. You need to talk to somebody. You need to address the situation because something in your heart knows this isn't right. And if you really love that person, like if you really care for that person that you lost, you know they wouldn't want you being so sad like that. But at the same time, it's so okay to let yourself grieve. It's so okay to cry every now and then. Heck, I cried almost every single day for a month. And I'm not that type of person. I'm not the person to hold on to stuff like that. Hold on to such heartache and grief. And there are some people that were in his life that are still grieving. That are still grieving so much for him. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this short because the video you're about to watch is a bit long. I just hope that this video can help somebody know that they're not the only ones feeling these things. I know for a fact that I wasn't the only one thinking those things at the time of that tragedy. And I just really hope that my raw emotion will help somebody learn that they're not alone. That's the biggest thing. I know it feels like it. I felt like nobody understood. Okay. I hope you enjoy my realness. Let me know what you think. I really would like to hear other people's opinions on this. Or if they want to add to it. Thanks. This is my second time trying to record something like this. In times like this, it's hard to know what to say, it's hard to know what to do, it's hard to know how to act. And I have a lot of people around me saying, he's in a better place. He doesn't have to worry anymore. Which is true. But I'm not in a better place. And that's all I find I've been able to do lately is worry. Worry about, was I a good friend? Did I make an impact in his life? Was he actually happy with his life, or was it just the darkness that got him? Which is really dark, but it's been a common theme in my head. And it's kind of like, no matter how many hugs I get, no matter how many I'm sorry's, like, I shouldn't be getting that. I just wish that I could give that to him. All the hugs, all the I'm sorry's. He was gonna be so successful. I guess what I want to say is, no friendship, no life is worth arguing over. No problem is worth holding a grudge over. So, while there are 300 good memories for one bad memory, don't have any regrets, because one day it will be too late. So hug your mom, hug your dad, hug your best friend, hug the person that you haven't seen in a year. somebody comes back and says, I'm sorry, say it's okay and I love you. Because there might be one day where you can't say it anymore. One day when you said it so much because you feel like they can't hear you. And you say it so much because you're just waiting to hear I love you too. There'll be one day when you say, I miss you 1,000 times because you're waiting to hear I miss you too. But if you hold weight heavy in your heart, and you take it out on everyone else, just think, for every one enemy that someone might have, they have like 100 other people that love and care about them. And one day you might have to live with the guilt of, could it have been my fault? If somebody comes back and says, I'm sorry for hurting you, no matter how insincere it might have sounded, no matter how much you don't want to believe what they're saying, you should say thank you, and I forgive you. Not just for them, but for you. Friendship is something special that some people only see a handful of times in their entire lifetime. True friendship, partnership, someone who can look at you, see all your flaws, see all of your bad sides and your good sides, and all the in-betweens, and still stand by you and tell everyone, to the whole world, this is my friend, this is my partner, this is someone that I share my life with. That's a friend. That's friendship.